Excellent. There we go. Recording has started. Apologies, folks. Obviously, we're out of practice as well. We'll get there. Okay. Since the QGEA refresh report that was finalised in August, we've been up to a few things. What we're not, I'll just start by saying what we're not planning on doing is getting the entire report itself approved in one big hit, because there was a whole heap of information in there. Some of it will be relevant as we work through. Some of it we expect needs to be adjusted. It was a point in time. And as we work through some of the issues and the problems and work with you guys as far as what that content needs to be, it may need to shift and shape a little bit more so it fits us a bit better. So we'll be going through, and as we go through, we'll be getting each of those elements approved. The first few are probably going to take us a little while until we get into that cadence and our authorizing environment gets used to the cadence with which we're flowing some stuff through. So just as a bit of an outline. We've been establishing our team. So our senior architect positions have been appointed, and Director QGEA strategies arriving. That will be almost my complement. I'm still looking, or will be looking for two policy people to look at the policy side of QGEA, but that will be our establishment going forward. We've been formalising a few of the elements as far as those frameworks components presented in the report going up for endorsement. So the first of those are QGEA principles. You would have seen, or those of you who follow the Yammer group, which we'll get to in a minute or so, but those principles have been through the Digital Leaders Group. They've endorsed them. It's been through the Digital Economy Leaders subgroup, and they've endorsed going out to formal consultation on those principles. So those principles are the principles that we identified as part of the QGEA refresh project. So in the next formal consultation pack, that will be part of that pack to get your feedback on those. The Digital Economy Leaders subgroup did provide some input into, or a couple of pieces of input into that, just to fine tune a few of those. I won't necessarily include that in the stuff that goes out, because, as they said as well, we want to see what comes back from agencies, but that will be in the final cut that will go back up into that group for endorsement as soon as we finish that formal consultation. And then what we've also been doing in the background is really having a look at how we're going to plan the 2 weekly sprints as we discussed to the QGEA refresh project. What are those components of current QGEA that we're going to tackle first from a prioritization point of view? How do we think those sprints are going to operate? What do we need to do with those sprints? And framing up a little bit of I suppose a playbook for us to run up a flagpole and see how it works. So I've got to go to the Digital Leaders Group, the CIO group, just to run them through what we're proposing and our hypothesis as to how this is going to work, and get their support and endorsement to give it a go. And then we'll be coming out relatively quickly, hopefully, if they endorse what we believe we're going to do, looking for some input or some willing participants and guinea pigs to work with us to try and give this a go over a couple of sprints. Cool. This is really playing with my OCD and control instincts, not having control of the mouse and the clicker, just so people know. So if I start twitching, you know what's going on. In other things that we're doing, the QGEA website, those that have frequented the website will know that we are moving from the QGCIO, the current website, across into 4Gov. Look, that's been done for a couple of reasons. One of which is, as good corporate citizens, we need to be seen to be supporting the corporate direction. So, that means that we're part of Queensland Government. We go across into 4Gov as well. That's going to have some hairs on it, I'm sure, and there'll be a couple of issues, but I'm sure we can work through those, and certainly don't hesitate to provide us any feedback, things that aren't quite working well or not quite up to scratch, and we'll have a look at what we can do to get those working. But also the other side of that is I just ask that you be a little bit patient, work with us. It is going to be a change for most of us that have been using the old QGEA QGCIO website, because we're used to the way it worked and we could find things relatively quickly, and so you're going to have to develop some new muscle memory there. That site, we're targeting the 8th of December for a go live on that one. Touch wood, that should be all working, and we'll have a couple of weeks where the old site is available for us just in case and we have to check back. So the digital console, so the insights team have been doing a bang up job, an awesome job with the insights, the digital console tool. They've had a number of sessions, so hopefully most of you have seen those sessions or had an opportunity to. If you haven't, please reach out to the insights team, Stuart, Brooke, Don, Sharon, those guys, and have a look at it. And we're planning on that site not being static. So some of the stuff we're having a look at is, any new reports that we can provide some value back with the data that we're collecting. So if you've got ideas, throw them into Yammer and we'll have a look at those as well. And we're also looking at how can we make some of the information and content that's available through that available on a phone. So if you happen to be sitting in a meeting or something like that and someone asks you a rude question, you can have a look at some of that information on your mobile phone and be able to answer it pretty quickly. And finally, the Yammer network. I believe we've got the majority of agencies have no issues. I think I've got to work a little bit with health. There might be a couple of minor teething issues there. Please have a look, have a play, comment, provide questions, answers, whatever. It's going to be awfully boring if it's just me talking to myself in there. So, the value of the community only comes from the community participating. So please get in there, have a look. If you've got stuff to contribute, you find some cool things, some different ways of doing things, please share. That'll be really, really good in there. What we're going to do with the showcase material is we'll post that into Yammer, so you can have a look as well. You can use tags, you can do a whole heap of things, and some of the content that we've got that we'll release today and talk to you about today will be put into Yammer first, and then once the new website is over in 4Gov, we'll transition it across there. Right. So I'm going to hand over to Nicole, Mark, and Mark to walk you through the QGEA elements and artifacts. And I've got to say, I love that screenshot. That is an awesome picture of the Story Bridge with that purple background. Anyway, I might have to run very shortly, but I'll leave you in Nicole's capable hands as we move through this. Thank you very much for joining us again today. And as always, if there's comments, things you want to hear about, things you want to see or less of, please reach out, let us know, and we'll keep these going. So over to you, Nicole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lance. Yes, so we get to the exciting part of, what things have we put together or are in the middle of putting together for you to use. So I've got 3 columns here, and it happens that we've got 3 of us to talk about them. I think, Mark Worry, you're up first with the published column. So these are things that are ready to go. And where are we? Are you there, Mark?
Indeed, I am.
Lovely.
So in the left-hand column, we've got the stuff that's already published. Most of the people who have been involved in the QGEA refresh will have been involved in the prioritization of templates out of the refresh. They were developed by Deloitte. We've gone through a process of actually changing them from being in PowerPoint to Word formats for the majority of them, which makes them a little bit more usable. And they're the ones that are there. and they'll be published, as it says, on the new site. But you can find them on Yammer. So once that new site goes live, early December, you'll be able to find them there. There is proposals to develop further templates, but that'll be down the road a little bit. We've got some other more important things to deal with in the meantime.
Thanks, Mark. And I think if you remember, we did have a bit of a prioritization session when we're looking at day one artifacts from the roadmap that was included in that final report. So these are the ones that did float to the top that people were keen to see. So you're more than welcome to go have a look in Yammer. They've all been added as a zip file for the moment. That link is live, but we will also share the links to all of these in the chat. So you've got that as a reference. Over to Mark Bremhorst now for the coming soon. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Nicole. As some of you would have heard in a previous session, we are looking at how best to revise IS2. So Information Standard 2 talks to structured planning of your ICT investments. What we're proposing is to build in a more flexible framework from the international standard 38,500, which has an Australian equivalent more recently developed, but also was the precursor to that standard. And what we're thinking is we'll put that through some informal consultation before sending it out for formal consultation. So just watch your mailboxes over the next few weeks, because we'll release that and we'd value any of your insights or input into it before we actually publish something for formal consultation. The reason we're doing that is we'd like to understand, this is the new approach that we're taking to the standards generally, and we'd like to understand any concerns or issues you might have, or any suggestions. So that's where we're going with that one. Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks, Mark. And I get to talk about what we're brewing up, bubbling away in the background there. So Lance mentioned the idea of sprints and collaborative work. So we've actually got 2 topics lined up and ready to go, hopefully very soon. One will be of great excitement. I think they probably will be of great excitement to everyone. The idea of looking at the technology classification framework. Those of us who've been around the traps for a while know that it's a little some time has passed since that classification framework was first assembled, and it's due for a refresh. And so you can see here a little bit of a sneak peek as to what we've been doing. We've been scanning industry classifications, classifications that various agencies have provided in, for example, the community of practice and other discussions. We've also been looking to see what other government agencies outside of Australia are doing, and all of that's going into the melting pot, and we're ready to start a collaborative exercise on that one. The other one is a business capability model. It would be really awesome to have a reference model for government, so that if you're doing a internal business capability model, you don't have to start from scratch, but also gives us a reference point so that we can start pinning things such as our ICT assets or our initiatives that are going through, or even our functional and capability improvement to a common model, so that we can share ideas across the wider government community. So that's another one that's on the cards, and we're putting together material for that. So once again, once things get cleared through all the levels of endorsement and support and engagement, particularly from CIOs, watch the space. You'll be getting invitations to participate in those. Before I move on, were there any questions about any of those 3 areas of things that we've been up to? All good?
Oh, sorry, Nick.
Sorry. Hello, Chris.
Hi. You can't have a meeting without hearing my voice at least once, right? Just the first one, there's published templates on Yammer.
Yes.
Is there going to be anywhere else? Or just
Yammer's
Yammer? Because I
Yammer's
haven't
the
touched
temporary.
Yammer for years.
Oh, yes, yes. And we do believe that we're trying to make sure that health has got access through to our Yammer channel. This is because we're in the middle of moving the website. And once it goes to 4Gov, all the templates for this lot and any future ones, that will be their official home. It was just to make sure that you had access. If you cannot get access to Yammer, they're in a zip file. We're more than happy to send that directly to you if you just get in touch with one of us.
Okay, can I just say I'm in touch? Thanks,
Okay.
Nicole. Cheers.
Noted.
Thank
We'll
you.
send it along to you. Thanks, Chris.
Cheers.
No worries. Any other questions? Okay. Well, next steps. So you might recall that previously the showcases were run fortnightly. We're just getting back in the groove. So the next steps we'll be looking at running another of these showcases 3 weeks away, and then Christmas and New Year happen. So then we'll kick more into that fortnightly stride. But in the next 3 weeks, this is what we're looking at. So Mark has mentioned IS2, and that will be in the pack for informal consultation, which will start. Thanks, Lance. Which will start on the 5th of December. So we will publish that to the forums, and of course things are transitioning, so it might be in the existing discussion forum, it might be over in Yammer. We'll let you know where that informal consultation space is going to be. The principles that we mentioned that have already gone through the leaders group will be targeted for formal consultation. So that will be commencing on the 6th of February due to our quarterly schedule that's been pre-published. And as I mentioned before, we'll be preparing for those first collaborative design sessions. At the moment, we're targeting mid-January, hopefully, to look at kicking off those sprints. So again, watch this space. It will be the technology classification framework. That will be the first invite that goes out. So that's probably it from us today. And were there any last questions, comments? And also, we are running the invitation to this forum from our Teams channel. We just want to double check that that hasn't caused any technical difficulties for anyone. Someone mentioned before that the chat wasn't working. If there's any issues, do let us know so that when we put the series in for next year, we'll be able to make it a bit more accessible if anyone's having issues now. Debbie.
Just to let you know that the chat still isn't working.
Right, so external.
It didn't come up at all.
Right, so external folk aren't able to put anything into the chat at the moment.
No.
Can't even see
Yeah,
it.
that's correct.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Internal
I
as
can't
well.
see the chat either.
Yeah, we
Internal as
can't see
well.
the chat at all. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see what we can do about fixing that. And if it means we have to send it directly from a calendar, we'll work that out through. Because Sharon can see it, yes, but you're kind of internal to the team, Sharon. I suspect it might be something to do with the way our channel is set up. So bear with us. We'll work through that and make sure we'll hopefully in 3 weeks' time, we'll give this another go and see if the chat's available, or if not, we'll switch the invitation format for you. Any other questions?
Yes, Richard, sorry.
Hello, Richard.
Hello. So the principles, they've been published, have they, in this information that's gone onto the Teams channel? Not onto Teams, onto Yammer, sorry.
So the principles were originally published as part of the report. So that was published in 2 parts on the discussion forum. Do you still have a link to that, Richard?
Probably. Can
That's
you
all right.
do you mind just putting it all in one place?
Yes, we'll pop all the links in. So the principles themselves, yes, will be published more so to our QGEA website, but that's the one that's in the middle of moving. So if you want to find them, they are in the report, the original report. We'll put a link into this chat, so that no, not into this chat. We'll send it as an email, so no one can see the chat. We'll send an email out to everyone with links to what we've discussed today, as well as that report. And I'll just put a little note as to which page number has those principles on them, and that's the same set that will come through for formal consultation.
So they haven't changed though since the report, because I think
no,
Lance
they haven't.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
That's for Richard. Any other questions? All right, well, we might call it a day there. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited to be keeping you company again in the format of these showcases. Thanks for bearing with us as we get things started and iron out some of the crinkles. But we do look forward to being in touch. If you have any questions outside of these, please do let us know. You can find us, I think our addresses are up there on GovNet at the moment, so you can get in touch with us. And thank you very much. So have an awesome rest of the day, and we look forward to talking soon.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very much.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.